Hey guys, my name is Sam and welcome back to Samcraft. In today's video, we're going to be taking a first look at the YesWelder FIRSTESS MP200 multifunction plus cutting welder. As of the making of this video, late August 2021, this is a Kickstarter campaign, early release, and this is going to be the first look at this model. There'll be links to the machine and everything of the sort down below if you are interested. As you guys will know, if you are a close follower of my channel, you will probably be confused why Sam has a welder in his shop when he's primarily woodworking and stuff. It's because I'd like to learn how to weld. I've dabbled in it in the past, but having the opportunity to test out this machine and add some more skill sets to my shop and just me in general is a cool opportunity, and so I decided to, sure, give it a try. Turning the machine around here to the front, you can see there is a plastic cover that covers up a little LCD screen or TF display. I don't know, it's a little screen. Got some function buttons there and we'll cover those in a little bit. Otherwise, you've got a side cover, louvered panels here with the branding on the side. And then this side of the machine is a door to access your spool or wire for your MIG welding or fcaw welding wire. Here on the back of the machine, you have the air regulator and water separator, I believe, all in one unit. This comes with the machine. The airline hose here, this is for your plasma cutter. You have the power switch, you have two fans, and then down at the bottom, you have the gas connection for your MIG welding. There's also a little chart here at the back if you want some quick reference for that kind of stuff. But given nowadays, you know, the internet's available, so the internet's going to know more and be more helpful. At least that's my experience. That rounds up the back of the machine, the sides and the front. Overall, the weight, I would say it's probably around 40 pounds at most, and that includes the 10-pound spool of wire that's inside. So this is a pretty lightweight machine. It is nice and portable. It does have the handle on the top. Doable to carry around, so that is nice. It runs off of 110 and 220 volts, so that is also handy. And overall, yeah, it's a cool multifunction machine. I have everything hooked up here with the air dryer, water separator, regulator. This is for the plasma cutting system. So it is all hooked up, good to go. The next thing I want to do is go ahead and load up the wire spool for the fcaw or flux core arc welding function. Go ahead and open the side door here. We have a standard spool here. It is set up for a large spool, so it's got a large diameter here. You could probably take this plastic sleeve off for smaller spools, but really your best bang for your buck is getting a large spool. And I have a 10-pound spool here I'm going to be loading in just a second. I have the machine all set up for flux core welding. What I had to do was change out the roller wheel to the knurled one. That way it grips it properly. That's what you have to do. You also want to make sure you set it to the side for the correct diameter or gauge of your wire. This is 030 wire, so I put it in there correctly. You guys will know all about that if you're getting a machine. So after that, I had to reverse the polarity of the machine, and that was not super easy. There's not a whole lot of wire to work with in there, so it is a very tight fit, and one that I wish they would give you a little more room to play with, just so that you're not stressing the connections and really forcing really sharp angles of the wires, but it is what it is. Also cranked down those knobs with a pair of channel locks. It did mar the plastic a little bit, but I want to make sure I have strong, secure fittings on those leads because, hey, that's kind of important. So I also wish that there was maybe a hex head or some easier way to get proper torque with those without having to use pliers and damage the plastic. Now I'm going to connect the welding gun here. This is a wire feed weld gun. Looks pretty standard. It has the European plug connection on the end. I'm going to plug this into the front of the machine, then I will connect it to power. I'm just going to be using 110 volt electricity for this, and then I will feed the wire through and then adjust the tension. You use the black knob here inside the machine. You want enough tension that it feeds properly, but not so much that you end up grinding flat spots in your wire, because that will cause feed issues down the line, especially here at the nozzle, and will just cause issues as well otherwise. If you hold down this left button, it will feed the wire through, or you can hold the trigger down to feed it through. Either way. I'm also going to go ahead and take the tip off of this so that I don't have any jams here at the very end. If you turn this left dial knob all the way to the right and increase your inches per minute feed rate, then you hold the button down, this will go a lot quicker. Ta-da! Alright, so now I want to run through the menu settings with you guys. So we have two dials. They rotate plus they push, and we have a home button. We'll go ahead and go to home. This is the menu where you can go into settings. So you push to select. You can change from inches to millimeters or reset the machine. Here in the US we are inches, so choose inch and then select it. It'll load, shows you success, and that's it. Go back to home. This knob here will allow you to scroll through your welding settings or cut settings. Here we have fcaw, MIG, MMA, or stick weld, arc weld. It's kind of, we call it stick welding. Here is the settings menu, but it's going to take you right back to the one we were just at. Plasma cutting and lift TIG. We're going to go into the fcaw or flux core welding setting. When you have it highlighted here, you push this button to go into that welding module or mode. Here you can see you got your menu, you have your amperages, your inch per minute feed rate, your voltage is here to the right. Up here at the top are some settings you can go through. So if we push this button, we can see that we are using steel 30. We can click on it again to change it to 035 or 030. 030 is what I have loaded. This next menu, 2T, 4T, that's your trigger. 2T is you press and hold to feed it, and you let up whenever you don't want it to feed. 4T, you press on, and then you press again to turn off. I'm going to leave it on 2T because that's what I prefer. This next setting is where you are allowed to choose thickness of material. So say you're welding 18 gauge, 10, 16, 14, 12, 10, 3/16, quarter inch, 5/16, 3/8, and ½ inch. Depending on what you select here, it's going to automatically choose some baseline adjustments down here at the bottom. So that is very handy, especially people new to welding or starting out. Talking about myself here. So that is very cool. All I need to worry about is going into the settings and say, okay, I'm welding some 12 gauge steel. There we go. Next option here is burn back. I don't really know much about that, but it is an option that I've seen a lot in other welders. So there's your burn back. And then all the way to the right is your memory. You have options to store up to 10 different memories for this. So there's that for what it's worth. Once you've selected your modes up here and everything, you've got your settings down here. I can see it shows 20 amps at 5.1 inch feed rate, or inch per minute feed rate, at 15.3 volts. If I want to tweak that, say I want to increase my voltage, I can rotate this dial, decrease my voltage. I can dial it that way, so that's a good way to dial in what you like. If you are an expert and you say, you know what, I don't want to go into the settings, I don't want to choose the thickness of my material, I know what I like, then you can manually override and set your amperages here and your voltage there. So total control for you if you know what you're doing, or for someone like myself, easy to pop into the menu, scroll, select my thickness, and go from there. The next welding setting we'll go into is lift TIG. We press the home button, rotate to the setting, tap it to go into it. Here you have your amperage, and that's about it. I'm running off of 110 volts right now, so the max amperage it allows me to do is 160 amps. If I change to 220 volts, it'll give me more range here. Go back to home, scroll to the next one, plasma cutting. This one allows me, up here at the top, if I tap this button, I can choose my pre and post air rate. I believe that's what it is. I can set it from 0 to 0.5 seconds all the way up to 10 seconds. From what I've read, 5 seconds before and 5 seconds after is a good setting. 2T, this is your trigger control. You have 2 and 4. In other words, you know, press and hold to cut. When you let go, it turns off, or press on, press off. 2T is definitely what I like. And then of course it has the memory option as well, up to 10, which is a lot, but I guess if you get to dialing in certain things, you may go for that. Down here you've got your amperage rating, and it will go all the way up to 30 amps for 110 volts. If I'm on 220, it'll go up to, I believe, 40 amps is what I've read. So that is cool. Go back to home, skip over the settings, MMA or stick welding. This is options for setting up here. You can choose your diode or your rod. You got 60 series, 70 series, 60 is what I use. And you can set your diameter. So 1/8 inch, 3/32 or 5/32. I have 1/8 inch. And then your memory settings as well. When you get out of your menu, you're able to adjust your amperage as you want to. Maximum amp for 110 volts is 160 amps. You'll have more if you up your voltage up as well. Next setting is MIG. This is extremely similar to your flux core welding settings, with the addition of, you go into your settings menu at the top here and you can choose your shielding gas. You got 100% argon, you got an 80-20 argon CO2 mix, a 75-25 argon CO2, and 100% CO2 mixture. So you would choose your setting there. You set your wire gauge. You have steel and stainless as an option here, both in the 030 and 035 range. So I would only ever use steel 030 if I do MIG welding. Again, trigger options, 2T is what I like. And then just like the flux core setting, you have the option here to choose your material thickness, and it'll automatically adjust and change settings for baseline starting as well. You have burn back option as well, and then of course 10 memory slots to use here. As with everything else, you can override it. You can adjust your dials easily for what you want, both on your amperage and your voltages, so that is cool. Here on the diagrams, it shows you where to connect your grounding lead. So on this option, it shows grounding lead is negative, but if we go into the flux core, we can see our grounding lead is positive. So that is what is very important if you have this machine. If you're switching from MIG to flux core, vice versa, you want to be very aware of your polarity on your machine and make sure you do it correctly. That is the whole reason I went through this beginning, is I know I'm going to be doing flux core welding with this machine 95% of the time. So I went ahead and did that and set it up because that's just the easiest thing for me. I don't have to worry about gas or anything else, and it's just kind of a plug and play welding function for me. And that is it. That is the 4 welding functions and the 1 cutting function. Out of the box, you get the welder itself. You get a 110 to 220 volt power adapter pigtail. You get the welding rod for your MIG and flux core. You get your lift TIG setup, your plasma cutting setup, and your MMA or stick welding cords and leads. You also get your grounding clamp set up, some accessories for hooking up your air regulator for your plasma cutter, the airline tubing, all the clamps, Teflon tape, everything. So this is basically the welder itself. It doesn't come with any safety equipment, it does not come with any supplies, and it does not come with the adapter to connect to your air hose system for the plasma cutter. So if you are new to welding, you're going to need to buy your own safety equipment and supplies. If you're looking to get this to supplement or swap out your existing welder, you should already have that stuff, so you won't be needing to buy those. There you go, guys. There is the first look at the YesWelder FIRSTESS MP200 multifunction plus cutting welder. I don't like to do reviews, or really don't like to do videos on machines until I've used them for a while, but this being a Kickstarter campaign, the company is eager to get some content out, so that is why this is just an unboxing, first look, and first impressions video. Add to that the fact I am not skilled at welding. I am not here to show you my skill sets and everything. I'm going to wait until I have those comfortable, have my safety procedures in place, all of my equipment and everything set up, before I really start to show you guys anything as far as how to weld. So there may be a while before I actually use this because I myself am learning. But if you're interested in that, you can let me know down in the comments and stick around, and I will know who out here is interested in welding stuff and who is otherwise just clicked on a tool video, said, cool, thanks, I'll go watch somebody else's video because they're going to know more about welding than you do. Peace out. Either way, it's cool, guys. If you have any questions or comments, leave them for me down below. Otherwise, take care, and I'll see you guys next time in the workshop.